Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Naira scarcity lingers despite Supreme Court judgment. Buhari seeks duty-free access for least developed countries. Olanipekun 49 others to defend Tinubu's mandate. APC-PDP clash over presidential results. INEC to reconfigure BVAS for governorship assembly elections. CBN tackles IMF's claim on anchor borrowers' loans. And 98 senators elect 225 reps elect to get the COR today. Okay.
The major headline.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the cash crunch yesterday and what we expected the CBN to be doing right now. And the story says Nigerians still do not have access to cash as at yesterday. It said the banks had no improvement in the cash allocation they've been getting from the Central Bank of Nigeria, even after the Supreme Court has given a verdict on recirculation of the old Naira notes. They said also the situation was not helped by the federal government, who was not able to get the certified true copy of the judgment, that's the CTC. Said before the CBN will give a directive to the banks to begin to release old Naira notes or comply with the judgment, they must have the CTC before anything is done. And I think the nation saw some of the lawyers arriving at the courts, trying as much as possible to get out the CTCs before anything is done concerning that. Said a lot of customers had to go to the banks to see if they can get the old notes. Nothing was being dispensed. I particularly went to the bank yesterday to get some cash. They said they didn't have anything. Some customers paid me, and I wasn't even able to get any amount of money. So I had just told them to transfer the money into my account. And nothing can be done without that CTC. So we're hoping that the government lawyers are able to get the CTC. Once the CTC is collected, then they can hold the government accountable or CBN accountable if nothing is done.
Okay. So Chief Wale Olanipekun SAN will be leading 49 others in defending the president-elect's mandate. They are having their preliminary meeting today, and they're expecting the petitions from the Labour Party and PDP. Both opposition candidates have registered their displeasure with the elections, and they're waiting that they will serve within 30 days, I believe. Also, many of the lawyers have said that they are joining not because of what they want to get, but because of their personal conviction that the election was the freest and fairest in the country's history with a large-scale upset. And they're saying some of these former Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice Akin Olujimi, Babatunde Ogala, Roland Otaro, James Onoja, and Muniz Banere, amongst many others. So it's just that both sides are obviously preparing their team for the tribunal, which will start as soon as the petitions have been served.
So the CBN has disagreed with the IMF on the anchor borrowers loan that they gave out. They said that the IMF's position that the loans were largely unrepaid is not true. That they've recovered about 52.39% of the loan. That they gave out about 3 trillion naira, and they've recovered more than half of that amount, about 503 billion. Have been repaid, and that the unrepaid part are not due to any fraud, but they are due to a moratorium given during COVID, due to the COVID-19 forbearance that was granted to some of the beneficiaries of the anchor borrowers, and that some of the loans were given out based on the lifespan of the planting season. That the intention of the loan, of course, is to catalyze the economy through through farming, and some of the farmers' period of farming and harvesting is much more further in the future. So they said even in 2023 February, they gave out about 4.57 million to smallholder farmers, and that they use that to cultivate about 6.2 million hectares of farmland in 21 commodities like rice, wheat, cowpea, millet, maize, and all of this. Even fish, soya bean, and all of this. Some of them, their period of harvest is much more further, and so the payment is happening, but it's happening as profit is coming in, as sales and profit is coming in. So It's not about any fraud, as the IMF alleged.
The Punch. Supreme Court order on old notes banks in partial compliance begins skeletal recirculation. Whitney, Chrisland 6 autopsy review. Inquest begins April 4th. 50 feared killed as suspected herdsmen invade Benue communities. 203 hoodlums arrested during presidential poll, says police. INEC challenges Atiku Obi's suit on beavers. Don't handle education like Buhari, ASU tells Tinubu. And Atiku vows to extend protest, demands result cancellation. Okay.
Ouch.
Okay, so let's go to Whitney. So presently, the coroner's inquest is still ongoing. Both lawyers to Whitney and lawyers to Chrisland are saying that they have not been able to get their witness application because they don't know how to get it. The magistrate, Olabisi Fajano, has requested that the states should allow the process for their witnesses to come to be done. I think that's because they're all depending on the autopsy reports that has been gotten. But then the lawyer, one Eniton, this lawyer to the school, was asking the courts seeking to get samples, sample and materials to carry out an independent evaluation of that autopsy report, which of course sparked the lawyer Femi Falana, the lawyer to Whitney's family, to say that this autopsy that was done before the eyes of everybody,
including them,
your representative were there. What kind of reports were you looking for? And that shows some inconsistency and insincerity on the part of Chrisland. In one voice, you're saying you did not ask for the body to be exhumed, but in another voice, you're asking for samples and independent.
So how do you get the samples without exhuming
the
body?
The report has been done. All witnesses, were present at the time of autopsy. Let's just move forward,
ASU has urged the president-elect Bola Tinubu to treat academics and education as utmost priority. He said that according to Professor Bolarin, that's the National Executive Council chairman, he was saying specifically that the president-elect should not treat education as President Muhammadu Buhari did. He said that he cannot afford to treat academics like he did, that no one should treat university education system with disdain that would make our students to stay at home for 8 months because of poor governance. He said that universities must be priority in the coming administration. Lecturers have been demanding improved welfare, end to proliferation of universities, increased funding amongst others, and he should make that priority once he resumes office later on in the year.
Okay, so ahead of the March 11th governorship and state houses of assembly election, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has revealed that the Nigerian police force recorded and responded to 185 major incidents, arrested 203 electoral offenders, and recovered 18 firearms from the political thugs nationwide during the conduct of the presidential and national assembly elections February 25th. He said that all the cases are currently at various levels of investigation at the Nigerian Police Electoral Offenses, and they will be concluded and then processed to the legal department of INEC to prosecute in due course. And one of the reasons they decided to, do this was to have debrief officers that have been posted to the election security management duties and appraise their performances, find out the gaps of what happened so that they are better prepared for the coming elections this Saturday. So hopefully this time around we'll have less violence.
All right, so INEC is asking, that's the Independent National Electoral Commission is asking that it needs to reconfigure the BVAS, that's the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, for the next round of elections. If you recall, the court had granted an order for the candidates of the PDP and the LP to be able to review the BVAS, but they're saying that the commission urged the Presidential Election Court to vary the orders granted so that the candidates can, Atiku and Peter Obi can inspect the materials used for the last elections once they've configured, getting it prepared for this Saturday's election. The INEC in a motion notice filed on March 4th is praying the court to vary the order which restrained it from tampering with the materials used for the elections. They need it for this weekend, and they're asking for it to be reconsidered. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Daily Sun. APC mocks PDP as Atiku Ayu lead protests to INEC. Senate presidency, APC tips Southeast. INEC asks courts to modify order granting Obi Atiku access to election materials. APC North Central Forum wants next House of Rep Speaker zoned to the region. Zamfara killings, Nigerians must defeat merchants of death, says Tinubu. Guba Assembly polls, CSOs warn INEC against repeats of presidential election mistakes. And February 25 polls, 203 nabbed, 18 firearms recovered from political thugs, says Inspector General of Police. Which story are we starting with?
Major headline.
Major headline, okay.
So the APC and some of the chieftains of the APC reacted to the protest led by the presidential candidate of the PDP and some of the PDP chieftains as well to INEC office yesterday. According to the National Secretary of the party, Yoda Omishori, said the protest is very undemocratic, that their actions are undemocratic. They are just plain losers, simple. They are just pure losers. And the presidential candidate of the APC, the president-elect, said Atiku and his motley crowd have descended to a new low as perennial election losers, and that the former governor of, the PCC and some other members of the also said like words about the protest yesterday. We'll react later on during our hot topic.
Okay, I was going to take the APC, hoping that they can zone the Senate presidency to the southeast. The National Working Committee, according to inside sources, said that because the president-elect is from the southwest, the vice president-elect, Kashim Shettima, is from the northeast. Therefore, the number 3 man, therefore, should be from the southeast. I said that the National Committee members said some elders of the party have been having these conversations in line with the regional tripod in the country, and they revealed that they were of the view that in the spirit of inclusiveness, Tinubu will pay us, according to them, pay them to ensure that they zone the Senate presidency to the east so that things can at least look fair and with equity across board. And that's the conversation they're having, according to this report, within the National Working Committee.
So President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu urged Nigerians to come together to defeat merchants of death and terror once and for all. And he was talking about the mindless killings that has been happening. They said he made the appeal while condemning last week's attack in Maru local government of Zamfara state and Gado local government in Kano state by bandits and unknown assailants. So according to the story, I think I took that story yesterday, divisional police officer, a police inspector, and a vigilante were reportedly killed in bandit attacks in Zamfara. They also mentioned that in Kano, there was also an attack by unknown gunmen that broke into the residence of a village head and shot him dead. So he is appealing and asking that we need to do more. The country needs to come together with all the security machineries to ensure that these sort of killings come to an end finally. And so he's going to be liaising with the inspector of police and working towards this so that we have more peace, especially in most of these hotbed areas.
Okay, that story in Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Polls, Tinubu lashes out as Atiku leads protest to INEC. That's fine, the story was not taken. Presidential poll, INEC seeks variation of inspection order granted to Obi and Atiku. Diphtheria outbreak kills 61 in Kano. We need 869 billion naira to conduct census. CSOs others kick as reps majority leader Dugowa gets bail. And Naira redesign, banks obey Supreme Court, pay old notes.
Okay,
Which
so
story starting with?
let me take the Dogowa story. So remember I took it that, the magistrate, chief magistrate in Kano had ordered that he be remanded in prison over the allegations of, he was charged for criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide, unlawful possession of firearms, mischief and incitement of public disturbance because of his speech that led to the setting on fire of a party's office and killing of 2 people in the car. And the High Court yesterday in Kano, the Federal High Court in Kano, granted him bail. I'm just trying to read it so that I can't believe that the application for the bail was granted with 500 naira. I just cannot. I believe this is a typo error. And 2 reliable shorties in like sum. But I think maybe 500 million naira, that's the mistake. The court said that the shorties must be a first-class emir and a senior officer in the civil service. And they granted him bail. But, have Kano State Civil Service Forum and some other citizens and some other CSOs kicking against this bail that was granted to him. And I joined them. I don't think he should be granted bail just like that for the seriousness of the kind of offense that he was charged for. But, his lawyers defended and said that he was presumed innocent until proven otherwise and entitled to some form of freedom. And so the court gave him limited freedom like this. But I don't believe it's for 500 naira.
Okay, Another story in Vanguard?
Yes, so in Kano State, said no fewer than 61 persons died from the outbreak of diphtheria in Kano. According to Salman Suwaid, that's the Kano diphtheria case manager, he spoke yesterday at a webinar organized by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, with the theme Diphtheria Outbreak in Nigeria, Vaccination Response. It says the infection is caused by the Coryn bacterium species that affects the nose, throat, and sometimes the skin of the individual. And some symptoms of diphtheria include fever, runny nose, sore throat, cough, red eyes, neck swelling, and difficulty in breathing. And in totality, they've had 783 patients that have been admitted in various hospitals so far in Kano. And the average hospital stay for each patient is about 4 days. They also said 83% of deaths occurred in patients with the onset of symptoms greater than 3 days, an average of 15 admission days. 68% of patients have been discharged. That's a 166% patients also absconded, and 12.2% died. And now they're going to be working together to see how they can create a vaccination that would help to sort out this issue. I think they are having clinical and immunization interventions right now to try.
So the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clement Agba, was saying yesterday that the country needs 869 billion naira to conduct not just the census, but also housing census, population census, and also housing census. According to them, the government has paid 46% of the money, which is 327.2 billion. So far has been given. The entire figure is at $1.88 billion. Now, according to him, he said the figure looks huge. Of course it does. He said that, but you know, in the United States, per person is $16. In Botswana, they spend $10. In Nigeria, ours is about $6 per person. So it's very reasonable. I'm sure you can see it's very reasonable. Wow. So far, according to them, because census hasn't been conducted in 2 decades, and it's something that they're bringing in new technology. According to them, this census will be digital, green, and to be transformative, adding that beyond insecurity and cultural issues, funding remained a major issue, and they're hoping that people can also support them. You know, Nigerians can support them cash and kind. People like Nima, you can also provide them with purchase tablets for enumerators, internet data connectivity, as well as conduct training. So you that a trainer, they need you in census.
Yeah, they should come and give me work.
So, this one will just kill somebody.
I don't understand.
But it's people like giving us an idea how much it's going to cost to do
we can
population
do contracts
and housing census.
Okay,
let's see how much time we have. The Nigerian Tribune, let's see how much time we have. Okay, PDP makes 5-point declaration to INEC on presidential poll. Some banks begin payment of old 500, 1,000 notes in Lagos, Abuja, and Delta. Many Nigerian politicians are mere opportunists, Bishop Fakwe. 10th National Assembly, Senators, Reps, APC National Working Committee to meet Tinubu over choice of principal officers. Any story we've not taken here?
Okay, let's just take the banks. So some banks have started paying old Naira notes, and the Tribune went into town and found that Sterling Bank at Yanokwaja, Access Bank at Yanokwaja as well, were paying the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes, as well as GT Bank that issued it along with Polaris, UBA, they were paying.
Oh, fantastic.
But the acting director, corporate communications of the CBN, Issa Abdulmumin, on Saturday said, we don't have anything to say for now. Remember that, you know, the president, Muhammadu Buhari, only executed about just the old 200 Naira notes, and, you know, the CBN say they must follow the directive of the...
Not the Supreme Court.
Of the president, not the Supreme Court. So they
Who
have not said anything on the Supreme Court.
Who is this person talking?
Judgment.
The acting director, corporate communications of the CBN, Issa Abdulmumin.
Can they arrest him?
In fact...
Someone like that should be arrested.
Yes, for contempt of court.
Yes, absolutely. You should show examples of this kind of people.
Don't have anything to say.
You to open your mouth and say that kind of thing.
Of a Supreme Court.
Should arrest you first. Use you as scapegoats.
I'm with you.